I just need to start by saying something.
Okay.
But Zeus never wept because the son could never come home.
I c I couldn't even t what did you say in the first part?
Well, do you know what I'm singing?
No.
Not even a little bit?
No, I think I collectively have, like, 8 hours of sleep across the last 10 days.
I know you're struggling, and I'm so sorry because I did just start ovulation today, and I can feel it. Do you want me to keep going so you can, like, maybe figure out what it is? They had to watch that precious sun go up from afar.
Can we play 20 questions?
Yeah, totally, that's a really good idea.
'Kay.
I'm gonna keep track.
Is it Disney?
Yeah, yeah, it
Okay.
is.
Is it Hercules?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Okay. So, I think that is the only 2 questions that I can ask because I cannot remember the last time I watched that. Is it one
Hmm.
of like, those 2 men, one's really short and fat, and the other one is, like, tall and skinny?
Pain and Panic?
Yeah. Is it them?
No, but I think
No.
about them all the
All the
time.
time?
Yeah. Which one? Who are we? Who's Pain,
I
who's
was
Panic?
just gonna say,
Are you Pain and I'm Panic? No, I feel like it might be the other way
I think
around.
I'm Panic. After this week, I'm Panic.
And I'm Pain. Pain and Panic, reporting for
Wait,
duty.
which one's which?
I'm gonna go ahead and say that Panic is the skinny one, because I'm
Okay.
picturing its little horns. I don't know. This is just. I feel actually like I really should know this like doctrine because that is my favorite movie and I do watch it often.
I don't know, just looking at them, I feel like I look like I was about to say I look like the short fat one.
You're just
It's
feeling that
fine,
way
guys.
because you're in
I'm in
your
my
luteal
luteal.
phase.
I don't actually feel that way.
I got some dark texts from her yesterday.
I did. And you know what? I did
We've all
pull
been
myself
there.
out of that,
That's good.
and I'm proud of myself, but then I am back in it because I know this about myself that I need 8 to 10 hours of sleep every single night.
You
If
do
I
know
don't
that.
get that, like, people in my life know this about me. If
It's
I
not
don't get
good.
that, I do not feel well. I am not fun to be around. I know that. And I have not been sleeping, and I have been in dark times.
I'm really sorry. I have missed you a lot.
I think also that's been it as far as, like, I do feel like you're my yin to my yang, and I'm so happy that you had time in New York, and now you're going to my home state.
I
Maybe there's a
am.
little bit of that as far as, like, I'm like,
Are
I
you
did because
feeling sad?
I think I'm sad about everything right now.
Totally. Just like
Could
feeling blue.
could cry.
You know what?
What? Yeah,
Yesterday, 2 days
keep
ago,
going.
was the full moon, which, always affects us. This was
It was
specifically
also a Sagittarius blue moon.
exactly full moon in Sagittarius. We're both Sagittarius risings, the ruler of our astrological charts. In the new moon energy, blue moon, second new moon of the year. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
And there's also just a lot astrologically going on in the air. I think that last week might have been a rough week for everyone. The last couple
yeah.
weeks, maybe not. I don't know. I say
I
that, and I also was on an
on a
island in the
beach.
Caribbean, so but let me tell you, I had some low mental points, which did make me feel really guilty for feeling bad when I'm in paradise.
No, you were with your safe
Almost
people.
paradise. Totally.
Like, you're with your people that can, like,
You
catch
can
you
be
in those moments, so
you don't
I
have to show
almost
up
feel
as
like
anything other than yourself.
yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
why
it's
I sent
true.
you those dark texts yesterday is because like,
Of
was I
course.
presenting that way to everyone? No, but, like,
You gotta get
can
it out
I
to
just
someone.
yeah, can I just completely unleash that on with certain people? Yeah,
Can I be
totally.
honest that there
Yeah.
I just felt actually am currently feeling 2 streams of sweat dripping down my arms from my armpits.
Wow.
Isn't that pretty, like, intense? Like, it feels like someone
I
turned on a
mean,
small faucet.
way to be in tune with your body though, you know? I didn't have coffee yesterday because I literally had my 9 a.m. anatomy class, but it's online, and so when I tell you that I was horizontal in bed the entire time that I was listening to it, and I
Yeah.
just didn't have coffee because I then, during our lunchtime, just passed out and took a nap. So the concern is that I'm allergic to something in my bedroom.
And it's not Bonzi, you don't think?
No, because the last, like, 3 nights, I have ended up on the couch.
And it's not the ghost?
Well, so okay,
So it is the
I
ghost?
I think the ghost is maybe mold.
And Bonzi's is Bonzi barking at the mold or the ghost of the mold?
I don't know, but
Or
he it's
is
like
the ghost manifesting as mold?
I don't know, but I slept better on the couch. I've been sleeping better. Okay, so context for people on the pod. I have mast cell activation syndrome. It's allergy season in San Diego. Haven't experienced this yet. I think I am allergic to the very trees that are lining our fucking neighborhood, and it's
Awesome.
slowly killing me. I don't say that lightly.
So bad.
When you have bronchitis and you have that tickle in your throat where
Like a
you like
dry
can't
tickle?
yeah, you can't sleep and it wakes you up and you feel like you're coughing up your lungs.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
tough.
what's been happening to me for like the past like 10 days. So like last night I went to bed at 10. I woke up at midnight and was like literally like dying. I think what's happening is like I'm waking Bonzi up and then he's like he's just unsettled and then he wants to go and sleep on the couch and that's been happening and I've been seeing, "Hi, buddy. I'm talking about you." The culprit just walked in. Hello. Anyways, he's just been like getting really weird and like stirring in my bed before. And like he looks to my closet and it's like he doesn't want to sleep in here. And I'm like, what is happening?
He's like,
And
"Girl, you need to revamp this closet ASAP. I'm
yeah,
fucking
she's
sick
like,
at looking at this shit."
he's like, girl, I'm embarrassed to be seen with you. Can you please figure out your walking fits because they are looking utterly
Really bad.
just.
You hear some beep, 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 boop, boop under the blanket. He's calling Stacey London.
And Clinton. I
Yeah.
feel like Bonzi and Clinton would get along. And Stacey.
Okay.
Who's Clinton and who's Stacey? I think I'm
Between
Stacey.
us, I'm Clinton. Is that just because gay?
No. Yeah.
You're like,
No,
oh,
I
you're the
think
gay
I
one.
just
Happy
can
Pride
be
Month.
I think I'm like the more direct mean one when it comes to like that was a whole problem in my sister and I's relationship is that I was too direct.
Okay, so I see what you're saying. I don't speak as directly as you unless I'm like really mad or there's something unjust happening, and then I'm totally okay to insult someone if they're being unjust.
We totally have our moments when we can turn into a bitch in like the most justified way.
Exactly. And we all
Yeah.
need that. Anger
Yeah.
is righteous, especially female anger. We need that.
I know. I need to keep reminding myself that because, man, I have been really, really hard on myself. And again, I really did when I texted you yesterday. I thought I was in my follicular phase and I wanted to die because I was like,
That was
this
concerning.
is the best I'm supposed to feel. And
This
I
is
feel this
concerning.
way. Yeah, she was concerned. She said, fuck. And then I realized I'm in my luteal. The reason why I didn't know, because usually I'm pretty in tune, but my cycle's now like a 25-day cycle and it used to be 35 days. But since living with Audrey and cycle syncing, like my
Oh,
body's just like doesn't know what's what.
yep. I feel rejuvenated after the full moon and also
Good.
after like a really, really delicious mushroom trip this weekend.
Did you take it with your family?
No, I did
Okay.
not. But it really re-inspired me and it really freed me in a lot of ways. And I'm
Yeah.
excited about that.
I love that.
I'm real excited. Shoot, scar.
That reminds me that Nathan Scott didn't, or James Lafferty didn't reply back to my TikTok, and I'm really sad. But I couldn't tag him. He has his like thing on private. James, I just need you to respond to that one TikTok, okay?
Is he partnered up, booed up, if you will?
He is. He is married. And listen,
Okay.
no disrespect to that
So were you.
marriage. Anything can happen, James. You do you, sir. I will be rooting for you.
I don't know about you, but I'm married myself.
Yeah. What are you doing with your face?
I've been really into that face lately. Let me just
Yeah.
give a small recap. The last 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I went to New York. Originally, this trip was planned with my family to meet my new nephew, who I was able to meet a little bit early, a couple weeks ago. But we went back with my whole family. We played with the babies. My sister was able to meet baby Salem. I was able to see some friends, spent a week in New York, and then we went to Dominican Republic, which was so beautiful, such an experience. I'd never been there before. And let me tell you, getting your passport
I was gonna
expedited,
ask how that worked out.
I
Obviously,
had
it
a
worked
I
out.
had a lot of crash outs, and God knows I couldn't have done that if I didn't have another adult helping me,
Yeah.
Lindsay. Shout out to the fairy pod mother once again for saving me. I'm here to get my
Yeah.
shit together.
Maddie's been
Arr.
traveling. I've been in school. Crazy the fact that my school basically ends mid-July, which is gonna be here in, like, 2 seconds, and then
Mhm.
I'll be able to pick up the slack from the last 6 months.
I can't believe we're 6 months into the year. I was just
I
thinking
know.
about that, like, 6 months since I moved back to Utah.
I
6
know.
months
6
post-breakup.
months since I've been in San Diego.
Crazy. Does it
It's
feel like 6 months?
it feels like longer. I think the thing is, in the last 6 months, it felt so new, and we all knew that, like, I was coming from a really, really difficult time of, like, wrapping up my old life and finding this new chapter that I feel like I put so much pressure to be, like, happy all the time because I felt
Totally.
like if I felt my feelings of, like, any sense of lowness that, like, passed by, it would mean that I did something wrong or that this was, like, not meant for me
Hmm.
or I didn't make the right decision or something like that.
Totally.
So I feel like I've been pretty avoidant to, like, any, like, sadness or
Processing the grief, really.
totally, and now it's catching up with me.
I feel like that makes sense, and I can resonate in my own way of
Yeah,
initially when you're in a new experience, I think especially you and I, Sagittarius risings, we are very motivated by creating something new for ourselves and doing something different and switching things up. And I
yeah.
think that we both have a thing. I think
Chasing
we
joy, chasing
yeah,
art, chasing freedom.
experience. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. And I think that we also have delayed processing. So I think that there is this kind of window where we're feeling the excitement, the change, the freedom. And then as the dopamine kind of settles, of something new, I think then our bodies start to process, which I think is normal for humans. I think is extra normal for neurodivergent humans. And I have been feeling that as well. Like, oh, it's been 6 months since my breakup, and I do feel like a new wave of grief is hitting me
yeah.
in a way that is like not regretful or even like longing or like
Missing or,
I
like
made the wrong choice,
yeah.
but just like a coming to terms with your life looking differently than you expected, and also just a person who you love and care about not having the same relationship with them that you have had in the past, you
Well, is
know?
this too also the first family vacation that you have had without
Yes.
and I didn't think about that
Yeah.
triggering those emotions for you,
I
but that
didn't
makes so much
either.
sense.
And I'm obviously not angry that those were triggered because again, like that relationship was so special to me, and she's still such an incredibly like beautiful person who I admire and like
Yeah.
see as a dear friend. And so it's not like oh, why is this coming up? It's like oh, I'm gonna let myself feel this sadness of this change,
Yeah.
of being on my own on this vacation,
Yeah.
of my nephew asking where Ellie is. And he's, barely turning
That's
3.
really hard. The
And it's hard.
nephew asking where your partner is? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, again, of course he's going to ask that.
There's
She's
nothing
been
wrong with
around
that.
for his whole life,
Mhm.
and they were close, and we were together for several years. Like, he visited us in San Francisco. He's also brilliant and remembers everything he's ever
Yeah.
known, and that's just a part of it. Like, I also have been avoiding any kind of real concrete processing, I think, of that breakup because I don't wanna experience the pain of having to let there be distance even though there's no hard feelings.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So many people have this feeling about breakups. It's sometimes easier to process when someone did you wrong.
And, like, that
'Cause then you can be like, "You're
yeah,
a bitch and bye," or like, "You're an
and
asshole,
I
bye."
did, like, bring this up to somebody also who had, like, gone through a breakup that was a little bit less amicable or much less amicable,
Yeah.
They were like, "I mean, I guess, but it is just still a different emotion that you have to process." Like, there's no
Yeah.
escaping the processing of change and grief and loss, even if there are new things and if there is exciting potential for the future,
Mhm.
there's this feeling of really letting it sink in and letting it feel sad without trying to focus
Fix.
on something else, fix it, whatever it may be. And I definitely have been like feeling that the past few weeks
Yeah.
and working through that and allowing myself also to see where I need to untether in
Mhm.
general in life and believe in myself and refocus in on myself. And that's just really that's really hard to do when you're leaving a relationship where you have spent so much time like thinking about, caring about, putting your feelings into this connection and
Yeah.
person, and then suddenly it's just you. And there's still the urge to, like, put that person first or to prioritize that person, and ultimately, it's like, "No, this is a part of life and a part of change, and regardless of what the future holds, there has to be this transitionary phase where the closure is painful, and the change is
Yeah.
painful, and the acceptance is painful, and you go through new steps, and you have your first family vacation alone," or whatever it may be, and
You're still in your
it's
year of firsts.
and that's okay, and it's going to feel that way, and also, I'm really trying to let the good exist at the same time without making one of them more important than the other,
Yeah.
you know? And it's a really weird phase of life, It's really weird, but I have been feeling the need to really free myself.
I completely understand. I feel that way naturally. Of course, we feel the same way. And like, it's so funny. We're experiencing it differently, but like, we both feel this. I have been sitting with myself because I feel like at the end of last year, I was very, very in tune with myself, right? Like, my body was speaking up and making me make these decisions because I couldn't ignore them any
Mhm.
longer because my body was literally, like, having,
You
like,
were at the
acute
edge.
reactions. Yeah.
Yeah, mhm.
And while that's frustrating to be so in tune to your body, I'm grateful because it showed me where I was in misalignment,
Totally.
and I feel like then I got into this year, and I think because I literally did a 180 that I felt like there was so much new that there was, like, less of this, like, evaluation if I was living my life still in alignment because I had already changed so much to be in alignment that I was, like, less.
You're just kinda being present.
Yeah, and I know obviously I've, like, talked on the pod about, like, my dating experiences, and I think I am having this Marcel stuff because here's the thing, and I think this is both myself as a person and also my neurodivergent speaking. I am an all or nothing person.
Mhm, mhm.
And
Very Scorpio moon of you as well.
yeah, and it is really, really hard for me to date casually. and
Totally.
and also I just recognize that, like, it became so much of my identity this past, like, 3 months to the point where I felt detached from my school. I felt, like, detached from, like, building my future career. I felt detached from myself. I feel like it's weird because I look back, I do feel like I was still a little bit of a chameleon when I went on a date with each of these different men, and, like, I feel like maybe 75% of myself remained true and the same for each of them, but then there was this 25% that would kind of, like, adapt, and maybe that's normal and natural, I don't know. But I also feel like I wanted to come into dating so badly to feel this sense of freedom and autonomy and this ability to reinvent myself and experience my sexuality, an experience that I had never experienced before because I was never quote unquote allowed to casually date. It was just not a part of that culture that I was immersed or raised in,
Mhm.
and I felt like there was this sense of freedom, but I also feel like, honestly, dating has, I feel like, lowered my vibration.
Interesting.
Consciously, I wanted it to be very casual, but I think
Mhm.
subconsciously, I wanted to be chosen, And
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of wounds have come up to the surface, which I'm grateful for, but they suck.
Totally.
Like, I've even had
Well,
moments
yeah.
of, like, projecting to, like, close people around me, and usually I'm very aware of when I'm saying something that's a projection because I'm usually like, I'll say something, I know what I've said, I ruminate, and I feel really bad about it, and I have been not aware of, like, the way in which I've been, like, presenting myself, and so it's been a really interesting thing to navigate, but
Well, you're in a new stage of healing and a new stage of growth where, like, before you were working through all of these wounds that you've had your whole life that obviously you'll probably always work through in some way.
Mhm.
But I think when you work through the basics or like the most obvious things, then you do start to recognize that there are more layers you need to unpack and more wounds you need to heal and more patterns you need to look at. And honestly, the only way to really figure that out isn't in your head or in your
It's their
journal usually.
experiences.
It's through experiences of like
Yeah.
trial and error. And that's, I think, why dating can be so triggering as well because you don't have control over the person you're with. You don't know how they're going to react. It's one of those things that brings up like usually the rawest reaction, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what am I going to do when I have that reaction? And then there's the choice then of like, okay, am I going to implement what I've learned? Am I going to look inward? Am I going to be pissed? And like going through that process of figuring out what does that actually look like rather than just doing things the way I've always done them.
Yeah. And I think for me, I just don't have a lot of grace for myself to be in sticky situations and to, like,
Totally.
react the wrong way. I carry, I think, a lot of shame. I feel even this is the my voice is gonna crack because I have so much going on. I This is the first time I've, like, dated as someone who identifies as neurodivergent too. So I
Totally.
have this, like, new sense of awareness.
It's totally different.
It's totally different. And I'm gonna say, like, 9 out of 10 men, I don't think are really gonna hold space for that, and I
I
hate to say
agree.
that.
No, I think that's valid. That's been your experience so far.
That's been my experience, which is, like, really tough, and what sucks is, like, between my neurodivergence and also the other biology of, like, my mast cell and all of these things and hypermobility and all of these gravitate towards a tendency to be dysregulated in general.
Mhm, mhm.
So, like, I think dating can be really dysregulating for a neurotypical person.
Totally, for
So
anyone,
then
yeah.
yeah, for anyone. So then add in these, like, components, like,
It's a lot.
it's a lot, and I think I'm, like, grieving
Mhm. The
I
expectation you had of what dating would be like or could be like for you.
Yeah,
I get
yeah,
that. I totally get
yeah,
that.
like, I think and I have no I don't live by regrets, like, I have no regrets for the people that I met in the past, like, 3 months, like, I had fun or I didn't, and it was very telling, and
And you're
I learned
learning.
something about myself, but I also recognize that so much of my life has been focused on finding another person that is compatible or that what's the word I'm thinking of? Is compatible
Compliments
to
you?
me, that complements me, yes, thank
Uh-huh.
you. And that wasn't, again, my intention for this dating, but again, it was this, like, little thing speaking
Of
to me,
course.
right?
Yeah, of course. You're always aware of, like, is this someone I could see myself with generally?
Yeah, and I wanted to shut that down, but it's really hard. I recognize that I am someone that it's hard for me to, like, not give my all. So, like, when I'm on a first date, like, you're gonna die laughing. I went on a date last week and I was very much like bantering, like having fun. We just went on a walk. There were moments
Casual.
of like sharing. I was like, I'm a divorcee, all of these things. Totally fine. But I would say most of like the core conversations were just bantering and being light and being funny, right? But then this guy had wanted to go on a second date and we were like texting back and forth. And I don't know how to be not deep. Like I
Well,
just
you
like
don't have to be not deep.
I know, but this person asked me the most, like, surface level question, and they asked if I like cooking, and I literally went into, like, this full story.
You're like, "Don't get me started on my history with Paula Deen."
No,
Do
because here's the
not.
thing. I could say, yeah, I like
You give him an
cooking,
entire
sure.
thesis about the movie Ratatouille.
No, I gave him an
Anyone can
entire
cook.
thesis on the fact that I used to like cooking when I was married.
Mhm.
Also weaved in the fact that I that used to be so much of my identity. Like, grandma literally gave me her whole chef hat and her knife and her wooden spoon
She gave you
because
a chef hat?
you don't remember that? I didn't tell you that?
No, is it
Oh, I probably should
tall?
have shared that with the cousins. Yeah, she basically was like, "Here, you're
She knighted
our."
you?
She knighted me. I started crying because I was like, that felt big. It was for Christmas. It was when I was still with my ex, and
Mhm.
she gave me some of our nostalgic kitchen items that had been passed down from like her parents to her and then to me. Because when I was married, I mean, I like hosted like a full turkey dinner. Like, I would, text her about recipes. Like, that was a huge part
Trad
of my
wife vibes?
I was a trad wife. I truly, truly was. And then I feel like I got burnt out. I just kind of had this like realization of I just kind of fell into this like passion for cooking then turned into this
Obligation?
expectation and obligation. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
when I left my
Sorry.
marriage,
I'm just
no.
picturing you said he asked you that and you said like a 20-minute voice memo back.
No, it's okay. No, like, but like I I shared too much. I also, and again, this is me
Not a
being like,
thing.
maybe. Yeah, thank you. I agree with that it's not too much. And old me would have like texted back and tried to like save it, but
No, why? It just is like, why?
I just like, cause
No need.
we had plans for a second date on Monday, and then there was just no response from that text. And I just was like, I'm not in the business of chasing someone that
No.
like can't meet me in that way, you know?
100%. Because
And
the
yeah.
right person or people won't be put off by you sending a long message. If it's
Yeah,
someone who you're compatible with, they'll probably send a long message back,
totally.
you
Or
know?
just hold space for it, you know? I just I think that I feel like dating is depleting me, and I feel back to that, like, giving my energy to other people
Mhm.
too much to where
Mhm.
I'm not able to fulfill what I want. And I came into this year being like, this is a season for me. And I
Totally.
got stuck in again. I love this about myself. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I am all in and like I want to love and nurture and give to like the people that are in my life and around me. And sometimes I forget to check in with myself of if I'm giving too much of my energy to where I can't be just rooted in myself still.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to have grace with myself of the fact that,
Yeah.
okay, that dysregulated me for the last kind of 3 months a little bit, but my body is telling me something. I'm going to listen to
You're
that.
listening, yeah.
And I'm going to pull back, not because of the fact that I'm unwanted or I can't date or anything like that. I just
Yeah.
genuinely think that the universe is like, this is not your calling right now. You're about to graduate. You need to put your effort into that because this is your alignment and this is your calling and this is how you're going to be able to like bring your best self and energy to the world, and I really do feel
Mhm.
like drawn to that.
That's so beautiful, and I think even just recognizing that
Thanks.
shows, like, such huge self-awareness and progress and wisdom, like, you again,
Jesus Christ.
it's not even been a full year since your divorce was official. You've, like, packed up, moved to a different state, created an entire new community, started a new career path, started learning skills that you didn't know before, and have been sharing them while also entering the dating pool and entering a social scene again, and you're doing all of these things, and the fact that, like, right now you're able to step back and recognize what's working and what's not isn't misalignment in any way. It is
It's just
alignment.
reevaluation. I mean, also
Yeah.
too, like I started drinking and I'm back to not because I noticed that that was like impacting my mental health and also I think my MCAS as well. And
Mhm.
again, it's like I feel like I need to have grace with myself that I'm allowed to try and have something be quote
Exactly.
unquote unsuccessful and revert, and that is just part of the process. But I don't know, that perfectionism lens just comes in as far as like I think it's just like hard when I see my body, like, start failing me again. I feel like I get stuck in this, like, "Oh, I'm doing something wrong," you know?
Yeah, but it's just like your body is communicating with you and you are communicating back. And like you're saying, you're allowed to experiment and figure out what that is going to look like. It's completely neutral that you have a body that requires certain needs. Like that
Yeah,
is just the case. You just know what your body needs, you know your
yeah,
limitations, and you're trying to figure out what the best possible mode of existing is going to be, and that's going to require trial and error, especially as a Sagittarius rising. It's the
yeah,
only way we know how to go throughout the world is by having experiences and then reevaluating.
yeah.
And the hard part of that is oh, that part didn't quite work, I'm going to pivot, and retraining ourselves to think, oh, this is just a pivot, and self-awareness, and again, alignment, rather than I'm a piece of shit who fucked up and I'm never going to be good again and no one wants me and I hate myself.
Yeah, so that was my text essentially to Maddy yesterday.
Well, and you know what? We've all been there. I feel like I have been in this kind of like self-loathing for the past couple of months that I've really, really been trying to work through that, you know what? Maybe I'm ready to talk about it on the pod,
I'm here.
which is this continual reassessment of who I am. Okay? My
Yeah.
identity has always been changing my whole life. It always has. I've always been going through experiences, taking a little bit here, leaving a little bit here, figuring things out, coming to conclusions. And though I continually change, I really ground myself in who I become, and the
Mhm.
change always shocks me. I don't know why. It still shocks me, but it always does. I have been doing this for 31 years and a half, and it still shocks me every time. And
That's
I
so
have
funny.
been trying really hard this year to have grace with myself and to come to terms with my sexuality, which is, I think I'm bi. I think I can like men. In fact, I do know I can like men. And that's something I've been deconstructing because I truly, truly, truly never ever saw myself dating men again. I thought they were disgusting. I never wanted to see another penis in my life. I never wanted to talk to a man again, let alone be in the same space as them. And I'll tell you
Yeah,
what, I've had to really recognize that, like, not all men are terrible, unfortunately.
unfortunately.
Well, and
I'm gonna tell you, like, if you would have asked me a year ago, if you maybe even 6 months ago, if you would have like, if you would ever date a man again, I would have confidently put every single thing, every single amount of money, I would have put my soul on the line. I would have said
I would have put my whole, both my boobs and my uterus on the line.
I would have
Like,
said, "Hell fucking no.
yeah, no.
She's not. Take it all, but you won't because I'm gonna be right about this."
And I would have done the same thing. And that's why I've been having this moral dilemma where I feel like trash. Because coming to terms with my sexuality after a lifetime of compulsive heterosexuality, so like really, really allowing myself to be free. So the beginning of 2022, when I finally was like, I'm gay. I like women. I'm attracted to women. I want to be with women. I trust women. I don't trust men. I'm no longer attracted to men. I am moving on. I am a lesbian. This is my identity. Sapphic relationships are the only kind of relationship I could ever see myself in. And then I experienced this beautiful sapphic love and relationship and being in a queer relationship. And it was my identity, you know, and honestly, like, so much of me feels like a lesbian and like identifies with that.
Mhm.
And then this year I accidentally found out that I can
I accidentally
enjoy
found
having
out.
sex with men again, unfortunately. Truly, despite my desire to just, it's quite, and I don't want to say it's unfortunate even because that's shaming. Like, I've also been coming to terms with how much like bi erasure there is and like biphobia, where it's like, oh, you're either gay or you're not. And I've fallen into that
So
trap.
interesting. I have not ever thought about that as far as, like,
Oh,
judgment, like, choose a side.
and I've heard other bi women talk about this. And as someone who was like very much so like I'm a lesbian, I will never date men again, I can recognize that there was some judgment on my part
Oh,
that
you
was
judging
fully based.
yourself? Or
No, judging other people and being like,
yeah,
everyone should be with a woman. Men are disgusting. There's no way you could have your needs met with a man. And all that was 100% a projection of my own experiences.
yeah,
And those are all valid. Like I did have a lot of experiences with men that I didn't like. I did have a lot of unenjoyable sexual experiences with men. I did date people I wasn't compatible with and didn't even really like and didn't find attractive. Like those are
go back to
all
our crushes episode
facts.
and you'll fully understand that. Also,
Literally.
you have told me multiple times I should be a lesbian. Listen,
I still
I'm
think
not
that, like,
counting
if
it
you
out
ever wanted to go on a date with a woman that you just totally should, just because I think everyone
just for
should allow themselves to
experience.
connect with whomever they want to connect. But
Totally.
that's what this has ultimately come down to, is recognizing that, again, when I put myself in a box and I make that my identity, and I decide that I've got it all figured out, no longer need to look inward, no longer need to allow myself to change,
Yeah.
I go against my like makeup, like
Yeah.
the like spiritual energetic makeup of me is meant to change and expand
The
and to allow
fluidity.
myself exactly. And
You're allowed to feel bisexual today, and tomorrow you could be like, "Just kidding. Only like," and then you know what I mean? Like, and again,
yeah,
we fall into a society of labels,
we do,
and that is
absolutely.
so confusing.
Well, because it's obviously really necessary for there to be labels and for there to be community and spaces where people can reclaim their identity, feel safe, and be able to not be erased,
Yeah. Or
And
relate to other people as well,
yeah,
and feel like
exactly.
this sense of community as well. Like that those boxes do help
Oh, yeah,
create maybe that sense of like feeling at home with certain people that are alike. But then it is
exactly.
also can sometimes create a sense of
Restriction.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think that there is a tendency, again, to need everything to make sense, to have everything be
that sense of control.
streamlined, yeah, so that we can make sense of the world, so we can make sense of ourselves and other people, and be able to have little spaces for our judgments and for our ideas. And I will be the first one to say that when something becomes true to me, it becomes true to me with my whole entire body. And then
Yeah.
when something else becomes true to me as well, that continues to happen.
Yeah.
And and I have very often reflected on the past and tried to separate myself from it so much so that I can't see the through line of myself throughout it.
Yeah.
And even recognizing when I realized I liked women, because I was never able to explore with women and it was exclusively men, of course I'm going to
Mhm.
swing in the fully opposite direction
Yeah,
because
a lot of us do that. It's a full pendulum swing, and then eventually you
the
find
middle
where
ground.
yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, I like women. That means I must have hated every single person I've ever dated. Now, again, there were a ton of people who I've dated, hooked up with, had situationships with that I'm not attracted to, I don't respect, and I don't like. Totally, I will claim that. I wish that sucks, Okay, but we're doing
Yeah.
our best. And looking back, I'm like, I also don't want to erase the part of me that was true. Like, there obviously were moments when I was attracted to men because I kept hooking up with them or I kept
Yeah.
dating them. Like, even if they were brief, there were still these moments. And what I've been reflecting on since my breakup is less like this gender focus because that started to feel also really narrow for me in the way that even just like on a mental plane. And I got back to thinking about when I was coming to terms with liking girls. Again, your sister's friend suggesting that perhaps I'm just interested in connection and that's it, period. Gender doesn't even have to be a part of it. And like that has been something I've been reflecting on in terms of what holistically, organically would it look like for me to want to connect with somebody. And yes, most of those qualities are very common in queer relationships and in sapphic relationships. And I also know now, like, I would never date a disgusting macho man again. I just wouldn't. Like,
Yeah.
and I can look back and see that the disdain I had for men generally also was a disdain for how I felt around them, my own confidence, the own stories and beliefs that I told myself about men and how they controlled me and what I owed them and what my life purpose was. And I'm like so grateful that when I realized I like women, I was able to just fully tune into that and deconstruct this part of me that had lived for the male gaze for my whole life
Mm.
and allow myself to like step away from the thing that had had the most control over me forever
Yeah.
and be in this like beautiful, loving, delicious relationship that was like so special. And then also come out of that and recognize, okay, what are the holistic parts of that I love? And did that come from gender? Or did that come from connection? Did it come from compatibility? Did it come from honesty? Did it come from communication? Whatever it is, there has to be a connection with somebody else. And it's either a connection where both people are showing up and being honest and it works, or
Yeah.
both people are showing up and trying to make something work or mold themselves or fit into something. And that's never going to be good for anyone, you know?
Yeah.
And I've just realized that there's nothing wrong with me for changing my mind. I'm not a
No.
bad person for having been repulsed by men for the past several years and now having a small part of me that is interested in dating men.
Yeah.
You know, and again,
You're allowed to change back and back. It's like,
I'm allowed and I'm allowed to just like I trust myself. I'm not going to date someone gross or shitty. And like if I'm
yeah.
dating someone who doesn't understand me or respect me and doesn't like I trust myself at this point to be like absolutely not. You
Yeah.
know? And I
Yeah.
feel like
And even if you were to lapse again and not lapse, but you know what I mean? Of like,
relapse. This is a
even if
this is
you
a
were,
gay relapse. Guys, I'm having a gay relapse. Or a straight relapse. Well, and that's the other thing is this whole situation. I've been like feeling this sickness of like no one call me straight. I will slice your throat. And
yeah.
that is still
Oh God.
true because I'm like
Yeah.
don't take away how gay I am
Yeah.
just
Because you
because
still identify as
like
just a
I
queer
love women.
individual.
I'm
Yeah.
still going to 9 times out of 10 be attracted to the woman over the man.
Yeah.
Always. Like
Well, that's
and
because
I
I feel like the type of man that you require, unfortunately, in this very masculine, patriarchal world is few and far between.
is few and far between. I do feel like I need to share the story of how this happened to me.
It happened to you. I do feel like I need to share the story of how I was forced into liking man again. I also feel like
I
I
mean,
want to.
I'm just gonna say this, it was unexpected and there was out external pressure that helped.
Yes, I also do feel like you grew up with an extremely, like, beautiful father figure,
Mhm.
right? That
Yeah.
embodied, like, a really good balance of both
Divine
masculinity
feminine.
and divine feminine, right?
1,000,000%,
And then
yes.
it's so interesting, and I wanna be very courteous because I think that a lot of people have different opinions of, like, it's almost like the nature versus nurture. Like, do people are they born queer? Is that an experience from their childhood that, like, informs them? Like, because I think about the fact that candidly, I didn't grow up with the most.
The same kind of father figure.
Yes. So, it almost feels like, in my mind, it would make sense for me to almost run and find the exact opposite, which we did talk about the fact that I kinda did with my
Mhm.
ex-husband. He was a lot more like my mom as far as, like, a little bit more, like, quiet, passive. I wouldn't say feminine because I think there
No.
was a lot of, like, sticky, stuck patriarchal stuff that was in that. Do you know what I mean? In that
Well,
relationship?
yeah, because there was ultimately still this, like, underlying masculine tone that was, like, maybe more in
He wanted
alignment
to
with
be
what you
more.
expected from men. Like,
Yeah,
the surface
he wanted
level
to
was
be
the
more
opposite.
masculine. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So, it was like he would present maybe from, like, the external eye a little bit softer, but I also think that there was this weird, like, patriarchal stuff that would bubble up. That was
Yeah.
what felt like misaligned.
No, totally. 100% that makes so much sense, and I feel like since my dad died, I've been really recognizing him just, like, in everything and in everyone, obviously, but also really looking at his relationship with my mom and his relationship with himself and people and seeing this kind of, like, masculine feminine balance, and, like, I did grow up in a household where my mom was the more strong-willed, like, masculine, fiery energy, and my
Yeah.
dad was the soft, like, more feminine, emotional energy, and that's just what I've always known and what I've been used to,
What's your mom's
and
sign?
she's a Leo. Leo sun and rising.
So she's very fiery.
She's very extroverted. She's very, like, she's gonna make it happen. She's gonna make shit
Yeah.
happen, and, like, that is incredible, and I always have had that example of, like, "Oh, my mom will make anything happen. My mom handles the money. My mom finds the deals," like,
Yeah, she does.
and I think I always thought that I was the, like, my dad figure in
Yeah.
relationships that I was looking for that is kind of like this giver, and
Yeah.
then I got to the point where I recognized, like, I don't want it to be a give and take relationship. I would love to, if I'm ever gonna be in a relationship again, it be so, like, mutually chosen and
Yeah.
respectful and symbiotic and balanced that gender doesn't actually matter because
Yeah.
no gender roles are fully implied. It truly is based on 2 souls who align
Support.
and support and don't
Yeah.
have to be the same
Yeah.
and are the same in the right ways, and it just is, like, a choice that's made
Yeah.
rather than a commitment that is almost like a commitment that is, like, prepared. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah. No.
And I think a lot of people who are raised religiously come to this idea of marriage as we can make it work with anyone. And maybe I'm projecting. This is very Mormon. Like, you can make it work with anyone. You're meant to get married. You need to have kids. And it instills
It's
this
meant to be
mentality
hard.
in you that, yeah, and like you can tough it out.
Yeah.
The Lord will help you. And I think that causes this mentality of dating being, I am looking for the person. And because of that, we're not really aware of what we actually want or need. We're just
We're
looking
not allowed
for
to explore.
love. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Because
when we
also
do come
that's
into contact with something that is interesting to us, it's like, I choose this, and that puts pressure on it from the start, and I'm going to commit, and I'm not going to actually be honest about how I'm moving throughout this relationship
yeah.
because I already committed. And that's
Yeah.
too scary to look back and be like, I didn't know this thing, or I'm no
Yeah.
longer feeling this way. And that, I think, is the danger of dating having that kind of pressure on it, and there being this expectation of, if you like someone, you have to be 100% committed from the beginning or nothing's gonna work.
Yeah, and, like, the more that I think about it, the more I'm like, "Wow, there was no sense of, like, exploration encouraged because
Yeah,
of the concept of saving yourself for marriage." If you're exploring, like, insinuation, and I think naturally, because again, we are sexual beings, that there's gonna be, like, that temptation to, like, pass that line, but I also think that's such a huge part of the way in which you connect with an individual or, like, connect with yourself, so the fact that the church removes all of that ability to be in tune with your sexuality is just so wild to me,
so
and
wild. And removes your opportunities to gain critical thinking skills and to develop them because
yeah,
that
and
comes through experience.
yeah. So but it makes sense because honestly, I think the people that have more critical thinking typically do fall away from the church, you know what I mean?
Well, when you start to
I
have more options available to you that aren't
yeah,
given and expected, period.
yeah. So growing up, I would always go to youth group, right? And there would be youth group leaders, and they would always marry one another.
Totally. Very missionary coded.
Yeah, I always questioned it because I was like, "You're you're telling me that that like statistically people are finding themselves in a youth group setting and there's like 10 youth group leaders and like all of them are matching up and getting married, and you're telling me that that is truly, like, who they are
True
compatible with?
compatibility. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Well,
something
and it's
just
like
sussed it out from the beginning, and
maybe
again,
maybe it is,
maybe
but
it is.
also the likelihood of that, and also just this is also just based on how many people I know who have gotten or are getting divorced currently, who got married religiously young.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
yeah,
And I understand, because again, your mutual point is this religion that
yeah,
is controlling everything, and then when that starts to unravel and you recognize, I have to figure out who I am as a person underneath, like, makes sense that it's not necessarily the exact same person you agreed you were before your brain was developed and you had been raised in something so deeply ingrained that controlled every part of your life.
totally. And there's nothing also wrong with for those that are in that marriage and relationship, like, you did the best with what you knew at the time, we always say that, and have a
Yeah.
chapter, and then find yourself and move on, you know?
Well, and that's the thing too with relationships is we're not really taught that that's an option,
No.
especially romantic relationships. It is very much so commitment focused, and I think that's just something that each person has to figure out as they go throughout life, like what they need actually,
Yeah,
rather than what's been told to them that they need. And that is a choice that everyone has to make. And it's also scary. I don't
yeah,
blame anyone who has ever been given like a prescription for how they should live their life and sticks to that, because that is so secure. And
exactly, and
also
we
that's
chase
just
security.
not what ended up working for me long term. And like
Totally, nor
because of
myself.
that, this is everything I'm discovering, and I do feel like for the first time in my life, I have trust in myself in a very grounded way
Mhm.
that is unconditional. And really letting it be unconditional the past few months has been really hard, but I'm just ready to not judge myself anymore and
I
to
love that.
not, like, feel bad about any part of me because I am the most grounded version of myself. I do have the most critical thinking skills that I've had. I
Yeah,
do feel the most myself and the most free and aware of what I want for myself and what I'm capable of, and if anything, I feel like my choices now are far more like, they
aligned.
hold a lot more weight. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I'm coming from a place of alignment and also a place of this doesn't have to be perfect, and a
yeah,
place of I don't have to know what the future looks like. I'm taking this day by day,
living in the present.
living in the present, and that does sometimes require changing your mind. And that's scary, but it's also just human.
Yeah. Can I just say that I am so proud of you and also I love you and
Thank you. I
I
love
feel
you.
so much better and I know that this podcast again whatever comes from it from the beginning we've said that this is for us and this feels like a therapy session and like a
Truly.
way to just like verbally process a life that is it's just life is tough. Life is it's sometimes good and sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's dark and sometimes it's full of joy and laughter. And I mean, this was what I was scared of getting a divorce is knowing that I would be signing up for a life of navigating the challenges of life, quote unquote,
Mhm.
alone. Cause like even in community, like I know I want to be able to like come back to myself and be able to regulate myself. And I don't feel like I'm fully there yet. And I'm okay with that because I know that it takes time. But I'm really grateful for this pod and
You
I
too, and
love
you.
you and I've missed you and
I've missed you so much, and we need this. And I think that there has just been this kind of like funk in the air. And I'm not going to get into all of the astrological logistics because of the
yeah,
jargon, but I do just feel like this era of life is about freeing ourselves and experiencing abundance and creating this life that we are capable of having and
yeah,
want and need and know is possible, and also has felt so impossible in the past because of our expectations for ourselves or other people's expectations for us or the understanding we had of the world or
yeah,
beliefs about ourselves. And I have felt really afraid to be honest about this part of my life on the pod because I'm really afraid of potential judgment that I know
yeah,
also comes from my own projections of, like, me judging
Judging
myself
yourself. Yeah.
and wanting to get past that, and again, get past that, like, biphobia, that's fucked. It doesn't make sense. It's, like,
Yeah.
it's stupid, and, like,
But
it
it makes sense. It's influenced because of the fact that you tell me this all the time coming from a religious background, like, we've only been deconstructed from the church for, what, 5-ish
yeah,
years,
yeah,
maybe? Because I
mhm,
think even when we
since we
knew in our
started.
mind, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a you know it in your mind, and then you have to admit it out loud, and then you have to live it, and then you know what I mean? I feel like I haven't even fully jumped into what I actually believe spiritually because of the fact
Mm,
that I still have so many wounds from religion, you know?
mhm, mhm,
And so, like, we're still deconstructing. And so the fact that you would come into this with still feeling that perfectionism mindset and this rigidity that is so influenced from a high demand religion, it
yeah.
makes so much sense, you
No, it
know?
really does, and I think that as well, figuring out my queerness has been so life-saving for me. When you do walk away from something that has structured your life forever,
Yeah.
having something new that you identify with, I'm gonna go all in on that, you know? And
Yeah.
I still I still wheel, I still
I
will.
still will.
I still will. Like, I don't think my sexuality is the most interesting thing about me or even the most important thing that anyone else needs to know about me.
Yeah.
I do think it's a huge part of me. It's a
Yeah.
huge part of my identity, and also every other part of my identity is mine.
Yeah.
But I felt so for so long that my life didn't belong to me, it belonged to the men around me. And then I
Yeah.
took that back and it was like, "Fuck all of you. I'm gonna do this on my own."
Yeah.
It's been really scary, embarrassing, shameful, fearful to
Mm.
allow myself to even possibly think about ever going on a date with a man again.
Like, so nervous to tell me. I remember that.
Oh, and it was this, like, almost, like, spiritual thing where I felt like my dad or, like, my guides, the universe, whatever, being like, "Don't put yourself in a box.
Mhm.
Just, like, don't decide that you know what the future holds.
Yeah.
Because I can choose to be with women forever if I want to, and I also
100%.
can choose to pursue a different situation if that's what presents itself, and I have to trust myself that I will know in the moment what I wanna do and act
Yeah.
accordingly, rather than having a rigid set of rules for myself and
Yeah.
following those as the default the way I did for my whole life, you
Mhm.
know? I
Yeah.
didn't think I would ever wanna date a man again, but I was like, I need, in general, to just, like, I wanna free myself, and I also am, like, hot and young, like, why not have a sexual renaissance where I'm trying to understand, like, who I really am and allowing myself to be in situations that I like or don't like, whatever. Again, like what we're talking about, like, take in data and then reevaluate and see how it
Yeah.
goes. So I was like, social experiment, I'm gonna try to go on some dates. And I downloaded Hinge. I almost
Yeah.
deleted my Hinge many times because it wasn't very fun and I wasn't really talking to anyone I liked or was attracted to. Like a lot of beautiful women, but like not
Yeah.
a lot of anything from the men. No.
Yeah.
And I will say that there was a guy who had cats and he messaged me about astrology, said something about his Saturn return. And I was like, what the fuck? How do
Immediately.
you know what that means? And then proceeded to also tell me he feels more like a lesbian in a man's body than anything. And I'm like, okay, this is
That's
interesting.
you said that to me, and I was like, "Holy shit,
What
that's
a
your
green
type."
flag. What a green flag, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much because I also feel very much so like this sense of privacy about protecting myself and figuring out what my life looks like,
Having boundaries.
having boundaries. And this era of life is very much about like empowering me, doing what I want to do, following my dreams, living up to my potential,
Yeah.
and also like, yeah, really fun, nice friend who I like, who I've been spending time with, and I'm allowed to do that. And I don't have to decide what the future holds or what this means about me.
Taking day by day, and I love that.
But I do feel allowed to trust myself and allowed to make choices in the same way that I would make choices for a career or for friends
Yeah.
that I want to hang out with or whatever. I am allowing myself to expand my life however I want to without it meaning anything about me morally one way or the other or again, drawing any conclusions for the future.
Yeah.
And I'm having fun and I'm happy. And
I'm
I
proud of you.
I trust myself that I will never stay in a situation that doesn't feel aligned with me. And I also trust myself to explore and play and prioritize those things that are grounding to me, and that what's naturally best for me will stick around, and what's naturally not, I will move on from the way I always have, you know?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of, like, your life path number?
Like your numerology, like where you add up.
Yeah. So, like, for me, it's, like, 12, 28, 1994. You
I
add
gotta
up
see what
all of
mine
those
is.
numbers.
I think mine might be one, but let me try again.
I forget, but I think I told you about that client that I had
Mine
who
is
was
one.
incredible. Okay, I wonder if mine is
Gotta look up what that means.
wait, I think I actually let me see here. Mine's 9.
Yeah, okay. Yours is 9, mine's 1. Okay, we're
Oh,
on opposite ends of the spectrum, as per usual.
um, but that person that was on my table was actually talking to me. I was like, "Oh my gosh, do you have the same life number as me?" This year for me is the year of freedom.
I love that.
And it was interesting because I think I talked to her in March when I was beginning dating. And there was
Mm,
a subtle little intuitive thing of like, Emily, that doesn't align in terms of like freedom and dating. And I think I knew from the get go that like this is not where I'm supposed to be right now. But again, I had to figure that
totally.
out. Like, I
How do
genuinely
you is
feel
that
like
just like your birthday, but instead of 1994, you do 2026 to figure out what this year is for you?
I don't know, but she was very into like astrology and life path numbers.
I feel like that is a thing I saw, that like if you do your normal birthday, but with this year, that would make mine life path 6 for this year.
Am I clotting this? Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Listen, I know some people are going to judge me, but I'm going to just let you know that if you have never used Claude as your own therapist, you're lying. Like, I'm just going to tell you right now.
Yeah, like if you've never dabbled.
Yeah, like I have had a rough week and there is just some things that I have said to Claude that I might have said to a therapist if I had one.
You know what? I've done it too. And I'll say it. I have a lot of conflicting feelings about AI. I had a big discussion with my brother about it this weekend. I do not want AI to take over. I do not want to have access to
Same,
perfection all the time. I want to see the humanity in things. I do not want
same.
art to go away. I do not want technology to take over. Like, I do not trust the world with this powerful tool, or the
No,
society, or the people in charge. And also, have I ever asked Claude for some comfort? Yeah.
totally. And I 100% agree with you. Okay. Okay.
Maybe Claude listens to the pod. Claude pod.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I am messaging with Claude. I'm asking it a couple questions. I'm like, I don't want you to be biased towards me. I want you to give me a real answer.
Yeah, you
So at
gotta
least
you gotta
there's
throw
that,
that in
okay?
there so it
I got to throw
knows.
that in there because I'm real and I really want
'Cause
some
I'm real.
clear perspective.
You're like, can you
So,
please make this as human as possible, Mr. Robot?
Maddie, it gives me some advice and then it follows up by calling me a cousin. And I
He's like,
literally
I know how to get her. I know how to get her to trust me.
in that moment, I was like, this is creepy as fuck. I hate this. But I got the answers I needed.
You got the
And
answers you needed. Fuck AI generally. And also, I have to just say, it is incredibly helpful to have AI as a neurodivergent person who genuinely doesn't know how things work and who genuinely can't read
yeah,
situations sometimes. And I understand 1,000,000%, no one cancel me, that that is not the answer, and that like people are capable of coming to those conclusions on their own. And again, I'm
yeah,
very much so in this middle space of life that is balanced, and in like the extremes aren't necessarily sustainable. Hence
yeah,
the bisexual renaissance. And I'm also
yeah,
feeling that with like There are just so many things are true at the same time in a way that makes it so difficult to have these like firm opinions, but I also understand these firm opinions and I do have
Yeah,
them myself. And clearly I feel conflicted about this because I am rambling, but
I get it.
Claude's a
It's
cousin, I
not bu
guess.
I think for me, I agree, and, like, I can be level-headed in the fact that I also too don't believe in AI. I don't want it to I wish we could scrap AI, like, and just never had it so we didn't know, like, how easy it is to do a search.
Or just like
However,
make it solve homelessness or something.
yes, picking
Yeah.
up on the neurodivergence piece, when I am in a season of, like, I am not sleeping, I am so dysregulated, and normally if I was in a regulated state, I could sit with something and dissect it and come to, like, a pretty, like, level-headed conclusion.
Yeah.
I needed someone, something, some device to be like, you're actually dysregulated and that's not true," or like, "Oh, yeah, there's some merit to that." And you know what?
100%.
I'm sorry about it, but
You know what?
I was spiraling, okay?
You're being honest. And again,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Has Claude given me advice that made me feel more human and made me feel better about myself? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has. And I that's all I'll say. I am curious what your life path number means, number 9, what mine means, and then also I am looking this up to find your path number for this year. You do add up the month and day and then 2026.
Okay, so in general, I'm the humanitarian as life path 9 for my birthday.
Okay. And give
So
me
I'll
like
go through it.
give me the little synopsis.
So you're here to give, release, and complete cycles.
Okay. Perfect for your 8th
Yeah.
house perfection year.
Carry wisdom from accumulated experience and are naturally drawn to service, healing, and creative expression with depth and meaning. You likely feel things on a big scale and have a hard time with smallness, small talk, small thinking, small love. Okay, so
Very Scorpio moon of you.
yeah, core
That's
themes:
beautiful.
compassion, completion, letting go, universal perspective, artistic vision, old soul energy. The shadow side: martyrdom, difficulty receiving, holding on too long to what's already done. Fits pretty well for someone building a healing practice, drawn to somatic energy. Frameworks, honestly. That's what Claude says.
That makes a lot of sense. And I didn't ask Claude, but I did ask Google because your life path number for this year is 5.
Okay.
And that's the freedom one, the
Oh,
freedom
okay.
seeker. So this year, your purpose is to embrace adventure, adaptability, personal freedom, and learning to channel those traits constructively, which I
That
feel like you're really doing.
that tracks.
Our numbers are only 1 off. So this year, mine is 6, and my general one is 1,
Oh, okay.
which is
Interesting.
also interesting.
What's your general one?
Life path number 1 is the pioneer or the leader. So
Hmm.
represents independence, ambition, innovation. Individuals with this life path are driven to carve their own paths, standing out as natural leaders, entrepreneurs, highly original thinkers, self-motivated, courageous, highly creative, ruled by the sun, energy, confidence.
That
Awesome.
I feel like completely articulates, I feel like what you're hoping, or like what you're not even just hoping for, but what you're emulating with like the pod. And I feel like
Oh,
you've
thank
done
you.
so much championing with moving this forward, keeping us on track, feeling inspired to continue with our expression, and even finding like other paths where you can be creative and lean into sharing those gifts. And I think
Thank you. That's
I
so
love that.
nice.
Yeah.
I think because I've been told throughout my life, like, you have leader vibes, and it's always made me feel uncomfortable because I don't like that feeling of,
Because that's been tied to masculinity, but honestly, there's more research that women are better leaders.
well, and I also have I felt uncomfortable feeling there's like this weird superiority thing, I guess,
Yeah.
that I don't identify with. But as I've gotten older, I'm like, no, the thing that I feel called to pioneer or to lead is just like doing whatever the fuck you want and like
Yeah.
going off the beaten path, allowing yourself to do something taboo or change your mind or yeah, if I'm going to lead in any way, I want to lead people to be more themselves and to be less ashamed of that. And
Yeah.
that is something that I feel really called to and also why I love astrology, why I
Yeah.
love just talking, why I love giving advice, because I do feel like ultimately the purpose is for me and for life is just figuring out who you are and why and
Yeah.
and embracing that and allowing
Yeah.
yourself to expand to be the biggest and best version of yourself and feeling everything along the way, and that can only come from not getting stuck in the shit parts.
Yeah.
And this actually reminds me, so this weekend I did mushrooms again and it was the most beautiful, like euphoric delicious. Everything was delicious and just, like, happy, silly. I'm laughing so hard. I'm feeling like
Yeah.
everything was goo. It was just so lovely, and
Yeah.
there was this moment where we're sitting out on the porch and everything looks like a Van Gogh painting. You can see the texture and everything. The sky is this most delicious blue, but it's turning pink because the sun is setting and the buildings are all pink and the mountains are all pink. And I'm feeling so happy and in love with life and myself and inspired. And I grabbed my sketchbook and my pastels and I just started like playing. And it felt so like romantic in a way that I wasn't embarrassed by. And I was like
Yeah.
smoking a cigarette and it was the best cigarette I've ever had in my life. Then it like ashed on my drawing, clicked in my mind. And I'm like, the messy parts are just as beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, the mistakes, the parts where you mess up, the parts that are hard, the places where you're experimenting and seeing what happens, like, that's what makes life interesting. That's what
Yeah.
makes art interesting, is creating tangibly in a way that is not just filtering out the realness, you
Mhm.
know? And so I was just sitting there, and I could see, like, a galaxy within my hand with all of these colors blending into my skin and the little lines in my skin and the way the colors would move together. And when I walked outside for the first time, I just started crying because the reflection, like the pattern I saw in the clouds was the same pattern that I saw in my hands and in the cat fur. And it just reminded me that life is reflecting life and art reflects life and art is interesting because of life, and life is not just cute, life is not just streamlined, it's messy and
Mhm.
it's ashy and it burns a hole in the paper sometimes, and it can still be beautiful. You know,
Yeah.
it could still be full of life and character and love and beauty, and sometimes you just got to get out of your own way and fall in love with yourself again and the world. And thank God for mushrooms. Let me tell you that, because I felt reset in a way that shook me back into my body of like, girl, you are doing your best.
Yeah.
There's no way to do this that is streamlined. Go easy on yourself. Stop making yourself feel like you need to be a perfect version or a filtered version in order to exist. And like, embrace what you really want. And what I really want is to be myself loudly and to
Mhm.
inspire other people to do the same and to follow my dreams and to not be afraid to live. And that can only happen if you're just accepting everything and not resisting whatever based on limited understanding of
Yeah.
yourself or the world or whatever is around you.
I have been feeling really drawn to microdose.
Yeah, you should.
And it's funny, I met like a local business owner the other day that talked about they have businesses, I think, in like the mushroom world, and I've been really drawn to them, and I feel drawn to give them a craniosacral session. I feel drawn
You
to
should.
like
You
talk to
should do a
them
little
about
exchange.
psychedelics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm gonna do after this is go and just like chat with them because I feel like I need to I have noticed that there's like I've been ignoring a little bit of those nudges, that intuitive like, "Hey, give your business card out to this," or like talk to I've just been feeling kind of in that stickiness and
The confidence feels higher stakes.
yeah. Yeah,
I
exactly.
get that. I was feeling that exact same thing this past month or so.
Well, I think it's because it's like I'm coming to a pivotal point of like so much change in my life right now. I'm about to be done with school. I'm about to wrap up my additional education with the craniosacral. If I'm being honest, like my immediate savings are running out. Like I haven't been working.
Oh, same. We're that money, I am also very much so working on releasing my value around money because
Yeah.
ultimately it is just energy.
Yeah.
I'm still alive. I'm still kicking and
Yeah.
capable and have opportunities and know that I'm capable of making money. And that's not the most important thing about either of us. And it
Yeah.
will come to us when we need, because again, we're doing what we need to
Aligned
do for
work.
our soul and not
Yeah.
just ignoring everything we feel internally for the sake of having external stability that
Yeah.
really comes and goes regardless of what you do. You have to spend
Yeah.
money, you're going to get money. Like, we are doing our best,
Yeah.
and there is nothing moral about where we are in our lives.
Yeah.
or where anyone is in their lives. This is
Mm-mm.
just how it is. It's funny because I was like, "Oh, my life path number for this year is
I was gonna
6,"
ask you.
and it's like the nurturer or the caretaker,
Interesting.
which in a lot of ways I am spending a lot of time with, like, my nieces and
Party and,
nephews
like, yeah.
and, people who I love, where it's like service, love, responsibility, creating harmony, compassion, healer for family, friends, community, which I'm like, "Oh, that's really."
I mean, you were doing that for me. If
Oh, thank
I
you.
think I know that where you're going with this, but I want you to feel affirmed in the sense of like you are doing that. And by no means do you need to ever feel like obligated or feel like, my wellness is your responsibility. But I do
No,
think that for myself, I noticed you not being in my life for like 3 weeks or like less of it and felt that like missing
mm,
nurturing or like validation or just like a person to hold space for you that you don't feel like you have to mask up for. But
thank you,
again,
Em.
that's not your
No,
job, but I'm grateful for the presence where you're able to meet me.
thank you, I
I
really
love you.
appreciate that. I
Yeah.
think that that's also been something I've been deconstructing is knowing that I am naturally a giver. I'm a nurturer, I'm a caretaker, and also that if I'm not doing so honestly and with intention, that I can do it for the wrong reasons or I can really deplete myself. And if I put
Yeah.
that
Become
responsibility
similar. Yeah.
on being this perfect nurturer, I'm going to deplete myself.
Yeah.
But if I'm grounded and in tune, my natural grounded state wants to caretake and
Yeah.
wants to support and wants to be helpful and loving toward everyone that I care about, and especially myself.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking is like this. I feel the most like I've caretaken,
Yeah.
caretook. I don't know. I've cared for myself in a way that I think I have shown other people love before. And this year, I've really been dedicated to trying to show that love to myself without conditions. And I think in
And
return,
allow yourself to receive it.
and allow myself to receive it. Exactly. Allow myself to receive, to have my caring nature affirmed by other people who love me, who are like, hey, we've got you right now
Yeah.
because this is what we do. You care for
Yeah.
us, I care for you. Like this is
Yeah.
a mutual choice and not an obligation. And allowing other people to care for me has been like so beautiful and really hard and also made me have a lot of shame come up around not being enough or being too much or whatever it may be. And
Some
also
type of burden. Yeah.
exactly. And also it's just like I don't feel that way about anyone I want to show care or love toward.
Yeah.
And I trust that the people I love don't see me as an obligation or a burden. And if they do, they're not my people.
Mhm.
And that theme of giving and receiving care, again, can be so charged and
Yeah.
feel so heavy and like such high stakes. But when I feel that way, I notice it's because I'm slipping back into a past identity of me that is very fixed and has these
Yeah.
expectations and is not allowing myself to expand and to grow and to see the world differently based on how I am, to care differently
Yeah.
based on how I am and what I'm learning and what I'm taking in. And god damn it, I'm doing my best.
I'm so proud of you. And I feel like seeing the way in which you have received care and nurturing has even helped me with the way in which because we know that I can be a little guarded and feel a little bit distant from other people's like love and care and nurturing. And I feel like by me receiving from you, I think that has been spilling into the idea of, letting others also kind of hold space for myself as well.
Thank you for saying that. I
Yeah.
love you. I'm so grateful for you. Whenever we're able to connect and meet each other where we are, see each other, validate each other, laugh at
Yeah.
each other, cry with each other, it just makes everything feel so much more doable.
Yeah.
And I'm almost glad that there's been this kind of like 3 weeks of crazy travel and things because I do feel like I've had a renewed sense, not just for the pod, but like
Yeah.
for my general career and like
Yeah.
what I want in the world and how I want to go throughout the world and doing so in a way that is voluntary and with choice and intention rather than demand and obligation and structure. And
Yeah.
I just feel so grateful for you and really believe in us and
I
believe
do
in our
too.
voices and our souls. And again, I don't know what the future holds, but I feel strongly that we are capable of attracting whatever we need. We're already doing that.
Yeah.
Everything we need is inside of us.
My new affirmation, I am attracting abundance from known and unknown sources. Because I think I've had a lot of scarcity mindset, and you'll understand this when, you jumped into your astrology business. I mean, even just like moving and all of these like things, patterns of uncertainty, right? Like as humans, we want to find security. And I think that's why I'm feeling the way that I am right now, is because there's a lot of things that are like my mast cell makes me feel insecure because it's spiral. And I'm like, is this going to be debilitating? Am I going to be able to do the things that I need and want to do? You know what I mean?
Totally.
I think about like my business. I'm like, am I going to be able to sustain myself? I think about funds running out. I think about the fact that I'm on my own. Like, I have really been in this like storm of uncertainty. And I
And
think that it can be
scarcity.
really scary and create some like scarcity mindset. But I also feel this gratitude for it of, okay, how can I ground myself in this and know that if I can have an abundant mindset in this season of life where anyone would feel this natural like tendency to feel like this scarcity. And so that has been something that I've been trying to repeat to myself. I can only know what is coming for me, but I'm going to believe that it's incredible, and I'm going to put that energy
It's what's
out
best for me.
even when I'm feeling as low as I am, and I'm going to have grace for myself because it's hard to have like when I'm feeling like shit to be like, "Oh, this is just a season and I'm abundant." You know what I mean? But like trying
100%.
to switch that mindset and receive and be able to receive that, it's definitely, I mean, it's hard, but
It
it
works
it
to
works,
keep
and
going back to
honestly,
that.
I feel like I'm already having a few things as far as, like, my craniosacral stuff. I have a potential thing where I'm gonna work at a park doing craniosacral for
Amazing.
women that are newly postpartum, which is, like, something that is, like, close to my heart, and I'm working with someone potentially in the mast cell advocacy influencer kinda space and giving them a free craniosacral session on Thursday.
You're doing
And
it.
yeah, it's like I have to follow this momentum and really believe in myself and know that like the humanitarian aspect of things, like I genuinely believe I am meant to be able bodied to then bring
Help other people do the
this
same.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Bring this newfound set of skills that I've been able to develop over the last 6 months and really, like, move society forward because I help people be able to be in tune with themselves and, again, find their own joy.
Exactly. And I think you're doing that already. Yeah, just see everything in your future that you want for it. And
Thanks.
you reading that affirmation reminded me of this one that I've had. I like
Yay.
had taped to my door last summer and I've just kept it with me. It's on my mirror now. It
Yeah.
says, "Every cell in my body knows the timeline I belong to, and that timeline is joyous and beautiful and loving and abundant." I don't like sit and repeat it every day, but I've had it
Yeah.
around for the past nearly year. I've had this affirmation just in my vicinity. And do you want to know what? I feel like I'm on the timeline right now that is joyous and beautiful and loving and abundant. And that makes
I
me want to
love
sob
that.
because I know that I'm choosing that. And
Yeah.
even when it feels like I'm not, and I feel like I'm at my lowest, and I feel like I'm taking so many steps back, it's like, no, I'm still like, this is what abundance looks like to me right now.
Yeah.
And that is
'Cause
always
you're
going to
rewiring that in
change.
your brain, right? Like,
Yeah,
our brains have said something else for so long, and the world has, like, told you you have to have amount of external circumstances in order for you to be aligned or joyous or things like that, but, like, you can have X, Y, and Z and not have this and not have that and still feel aligned and abundant and joyful, and I've been talking to my cells lately,
love that.
especially my mast cells.
Uh-huh, like Osmosis Jones style.
I've actually heard people talk to the mitochondria because there's like a thought of mast cell being like a
Powerhouse! The powerhouse of the cell!
my friend Jared and I used to always say, why the fuck do we need to know that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell? Well, now that I realize that I have some diseases that actually are specifically dysfunction within the mitochondria, now I'm like, oh, okay, so that makes sense.
So that's why
So
my
I've literally been
powerhouse is
talking to
coked.
my mast cells. Like I was walking around at the beach yesterday and I was just like, okay, guys, I know we're feeling a little feisty. We're feeling a little unsafe, a little fiery, a little unsettled, but we're okay. Literally last night, I was
We're
talking to
doing
them as
this.
I was like, we're going to have a good night's sleep because we are calm and we're regulated. It didn't necessarily work,
Good night,
but
mast cell Mandy. Good night, mast cell.
Monica, but I really do believe that, I mean, there's actually like scientific research of manifestation and attraction and talking out loud and your body listening to your
Girl,
inner thoughts. So I don't
you
have to
don't
tell
have
you
to prove
twice, but for
anything
our
to
audience,
me.
yeah.
God, I love you.
Love you
And
too.
this was so necessary and needed to catch up like this. I do think we should get into our outfits before this episode ends, since that's what we do. And
That's
then,
what we do, baby. Yeah.
and then, can I give us a little something for next week?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, 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 yes.
We have not aired the episode in which it was given to us.
I also want to say something. So
Yeah.
we had Miss Rachel, actually.
Miss Rachel was on the pod, and we've been really, really just like procrastinating putting that out there because it doesn't seem like that would do us any good. There's no urgency to share our collaboration with Miss Rachel for whatever reason. But yeah, she was here. She's queer and feeling good. She's actually not queer. She's married to Mr. Aaron, who I don't find attractive in any way. So anyway,
We had she's a friend that I met as she leads a like endometriosis awareness nonprofit. And so I actually had her on for last week's episode, but we've just been delayed in getting that out to you. But Rachel did give us a word, and it's edgy, because she was saying when you're dealing with chronic illness and menstruation and being a woman, sometimes you find yourself on edge. And I've definitely been finding myself on edge. So that was our word.
Show me your edgy fit.
I don't really feel like I had the mental capacity to truly do this word justice, if I'm being
It's
honest.
okay. I felt a little bit like,
Yeah. I did an edgy wing. That was probably my biggest commitment to this bit of being edgy, was like a sharp
wing.
edge. What is that? Draw a cat eye sharp enough to kill a man.
Draw the
What?
cat eye sharp enough to kill a man.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's just exactly what you said.
That was my inspo for like the edgy. And then I am wearing a V-neck, slinky, silky. This is like very, I feel like 90s.
A little black dress. A little Gucci dress. Oh, hello, ass.
Sorry, I just flashed you. I'm not sorry.
I don't think we got any coochie in there, so I think we're good. But
she's big and juicy these days. Literally, my
slit is
pants don't
nice.
fit. Ladies, listen, if your pants start to not fit,
just get
I
new
love
pants.
that for you. Just get new pants.
Just get new pants. They don't
That's
need
my word of the
clothes
word
fit
of
us. We don't fit clothes.
wisdom wise. I don't know. Okay, my ass is white, but I'm wearing my kitten heel stiletto pointed shoes, and that also felt
So
very
cute.
edgy and felt like I can kill someone with the point of this shoe. So
Let me tell you, a kitten heel, pointy kitten heel, a cat eye, a V, and a high thigh high slit. I say that's edgy.
I think that's edgy. I'm just realizing that I'm sitting down, and I have worn this dress in public. Didn't really realize that this dress goes all the way up to my abdomen and
to your thigh brow.
Yeah, like I am showing my full
undies. And hey,
full undies, which they're
showing
not
a little
cute.
undie is also edgy though.
Listen,
ugly undies are in.
Okay, I am here for it.
So are
because
panty
I'm wearing
lines.
Oh, I hate panty lines, but maybe I'll catch up to that one.
It's all
and then I have this suede jacket that I'm sitting on, but it was restricting me, and it was honestly a sensory overload, and I had to take it off.
It's edgier without it. You look fab.
Thank you. Okay, what's your outfit?
I am wearing something I don't usually wear, which is a push-up bra, black lacy push-up bra. Under this, is this crocheted?
It is crocheted.
It's crocheted.
Also different. It's a different vibe than you usually go for as well. But
it is a different vibe. I don't actually know if I've like ever worn this out. This might be its like actual debut. I might have worn it to the beach before, like casually had it on at home.
Yeah, it's giving Dominican. Given coming back from Dominican meets edgy.
Okay, so yeah, I got it I did not get it in Dominican Republic at all, but I did get it at some point. So it could be considered a dress or a long shirt. It doesn't quite go to my knees. It's crocheted, black, long sleeve, kind of like slouchy, witchy, see-through shirt dress.
Love.
And then I'm wearing...
Oh, she's getting up on her stool.
She's getting on her stool. I'm wearing black tights under, and that's it.
Nothing else.
Edgy. And then my black Mista boots that I love. And I did some eyeliner, like a smudgy eyeliner and some mascara today, which I don't usually do.
Halfway through, I was like, she did something different with her makeup, and I like.
Little messy ponytail deal that I also felt like this works. Edgy
Yeah.
was kinda hard for me for some reason, even though it seems like it would be easy for me, you know?
Yes, I agree. I didn't plan for this because I anticipated it would come naturally to me. I
Me
think my
too.
Scorpio-esque, and then it felt like last minute I was like, "Oh, shit."
This pod is also making me want to sell the things that I have worn as like, "Oh, I finally got to style this and this is fun," but it's not like a staple piece, so that
Yes.
I can then justify continually bringing in, like, thrifting
New
new pieces
pieces.
that I actually love as, like, a statement.
Yeah.
I also would really like to recommit to sharing outfits on our Instagram because it's so fun. We're getting
Yeah.
dressed up, we're documenting it. At the very least, dressing up is an art form in and of itself,
Mhm.
and that's
Makes me feel
still
good.
exactly. Even if we're just putting on something we've worn before or a simple outfit or something
Yeah.
fabulous, it is self-expression. It is an art form to get dressed,
Yeah.
regardless of if anyone else thinks it's cool or not,
Yeah.
and I think that matters, and so I would really like to recommit to sharing more in general with our audience, not just because I
Yeah.
feel like I have to for, like, numbers or whatever, but because this
Just
is
you
a
want
fun,
to. It's
creative
an
world we're
expression.
building. Yes,
Yeah.
and, like, I'm really trying to learn to not get stuck in that demand avoidance space where I'm not able to show up the way
And
I
maybe
want
we
to.
change.
So open the gates and seize the day. And you wanna
Yeah.
know what else, bitches? I'll say it. Happy fucking Pride, okay? Whoever you
Yeah.
are out there, just be proud of who you are, okay? Are
I
you
love
gay?
this.
Are you bi? Are you a lesbian? Are you pan? Are you trans? Literally, whatever, however you feel, however you identify. Why is this gonna make me cry? I'm feeling like a little bit silly for that. But I've just been feeling a newly grounded sense of pride this year where I had a moment of feeling like, oh no, my identity is fucked because I'm not only gay. I'm not only a lesbian. And like
Yeah.
that's something I identify with so much. And I love lesbians and I love lesbian
Me
culture and blah da da
too.
da da da. But I'm like, you know what? I have always been a fluid person.
Yeah.
And had I been given the opportunity throughout my life to explore, I would have recognized and accepted my bisexuality a long time ago and not
Yeah.
felt the need to choose, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't regret how I was raised. I don't regret anything I've been through. I'm just like, great. Now I'm aware that
Mhm.
gender doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
And I can focus purely on how I feel with somebody,
Yeah.
how they feel with me, where
Mhm.
my nervous system is. And that makes me happy. And I'm proud of that. And I'm proud for letting myself figure that out. So happy fucking Pride, everybody. It's good to be gay. Just
Is that our word for next week?
gay? Pride?
Pride?
It could
Gay?
be. That's not the word I was gonna give. But
Okay.
yeah. But
I
should it
mean,
be?
you do you.
Well, do you, how about, okay, you just chose it. It's Pride. Okay, next week is Pride.
Or what was the other word?
Medieval.
Where did medieval come from?
I was looking at my chainmail,
I
and that's where it came from.
don't even know what that is, but
Chainmail, like what the knights wear underneath their armor.
I don't why do you have that?
Do you know me?
I
Why
do.
wouldn't I?
I don't know. I love you, and I
Thank
thank
you.
you
I
for
love you.
taking us through this conversation because I feel like I know it's gonna relate, and even if it doesn't, it relates to me, and I love sitting and talking to you.
We love you, babies. We love you,
We love you,
cousins.
cousins.
We miss you. Thank you for all your support. And if you really want to show support, you actually have to, since it's Pride Month. If anyone gay is involved, you actually have to rate 5 stars and like share and subscribe and stuff.
Yeah, that's a rule.
So I'm sorry I don't make the rules. Anyway, love
See
you.
you next week. We love you.
Love you.